Hey there, fellow global citizens. Tonight we're diving into the world of international finance. Don't worry, it's more exciting than it sounds. We're talking about the mighty US dollar, the currency that's ruled the world for decades. But hold on, because things are getting interesting, there's a new trend brewing: de-dollarization. Countries are starting to ditch the dollar in their international transactions. They're looking for alternatives. This isn't just some fringe movement either. We're talking big players making big moves. So buckle up, because the global financial system might be in for a wild ride. Think of it like this. The dollar has been the popular kid in school for ages. Everyone wanted to be friends with it, but now, some countries are starting their own cool clubs. They're trading in their own currencies, bypassing the dollar altogether. Is this the beginning of the end for the dollar's reign? Let's find out. Let's talk about the Commonwealth of Independent States, or CIS for short. It's a group of 12 former Soviet republics. They've been quietly leading the charge in this whole de-dollarization thing. These countries have been burned by relying too heavily on the dollar in the past. They've seen their economies tossed around by the whims of the US financial system. Now, they're looking for stability and independence. They're turning to their own currencies for trade and investment. It's a way to take control of their economic destinies. And you know what? It's actually working. These countries share deep historical and economic ties. They're natural trading partners. So it makes sense for them to use their own currencies. It simplifies transactions and reduces their dependence on the dollar. It's like setting up a neighborhood barter system, but on an international scale. Let's talk about Russia and Iran for a second. These two countries have been on the front lines of the de-dollarization movement. They've been hit hard by US sanctions. Those sanctions have made it difficult for them to use the dollar. So they got creative. Russia and Iran have been striking deals to use their own currencies for trade. We're talking rubles and rials, people. And it's not just small potatoes either. A whopping 96% of their cross-border transactions are now in their own currencies. That's a big deal. This shift away from the dollar is part of a broader strategy. Both countries want to reduce their vulnerability to US economic pressure. They see de-dollarization as a way to gain more autonomy and control over their own economies. It's like they're saying, we don't need your greenbacks anymore. But it's not just the CIS and a couple of countries under sanctions. The movement away from the US dollar is gaining momentum across the globe. This whole de-dollarization thing is catching on. And it's not just a passing trend, it's becoming a significant shift in the global economic landscape. China, the world's second largest economy, has been pushing for the use of its currency, the yuan, in international trade. This is part of a broader strategy to increase its influence on the global stage. They've even set up their own international payment system as an alternative to the SWIFT system, which is dominated by the US. This move is aimed at reducing their dependency on the dollar and mitigating the risk of US-imposed financial sanctions. Even some US allies like France and Germany have expressed concerns about the dollar's dominance. They are increasingly vocal about the need for a more balanced global financial system. They're worried about the potential for the US to use its currency as a weapon. The fear is that the US could leverage its financial power to impose sanctions or influence other countries' economic policies. Remember those sanctions we talked about? They have far-reaching consequences and are not exactly popular everywhere. Yeah, they're not exactly popular everywhere. Many countries see them as an overreach of US power and are looking for ways to protect themselves. The European Union has been trying to promote the euro as an international currency. They believe that a stronger euro could provide a viable alternative to the dollar. They want to reduce their reliance on the dollar and create a more stable and diversified global financial system. And then there are countries like India and Brazil, which are exploring the use of local currencies for trade with their neighbors. This approach could help them avoid the volatility associated with the dollar. The point is, the world is starting to look for alternatives to the dollar. This shift could lead to a more multipolar financial world where no single currency dominates. The greenback's grip on the global financial system might be loosening. As more countries seek to diversify their currency reserves and trade practices, the future of the dollar's dominance is uncertain. Section 5. A dollar divided? So, what does all this mean for the US dollar? The greenback has long been a symbol of economic stability and strength. Well, it's not exactly time to panic and bury your life savings in your backyard. The dollar still holds significant power in the global market. The dollar is still the world's reserve currency, a status it has held for decades. That means it's the currency that central banks around the world hold in their reserves, providing a cushion against economic instability. It's also the most traded currency, facilitating international trade and investment. But there's no denying that the dollar's dominance is being challenged. Emerging markets and economic powerhouses are exploring alternatives. The more countries move away from the dollar, the less demand there is for it. This shift could reshape the global financial landscape. And when demand for something goes down, guess what happens? Its value decreases. That's right, its value goes down too. A declining dollar can have ripple effects across various sectors. A weaker dollar could have some serious consequences for the US economy. It could affect everything from consumer prices to international trade agreements. It could make imports more expensive, leading to inflation. Everyday goods could see price hikes affecting the average consumer. It could also make it more expensive for the US government to borrow money. Higher interest rates could strain the national budget. And if investors start losing faith in the dollar, it could lead to a run on the dollar, which would be bad news for everyone. The stability of the global financial system could be at risk. Section 6, a multipolar moment. This whole de-dollarization trend is part of a bigger shift happening in the world. We're moving away from a unipolar world where the US was the sole superpower to a multipolar world where power is more distributed among different countries and regions. The rise of China, India, and other emerging economies is challenging the US's dominance in the global economy. And as these countries gain more economic clout, they're also demanding more say in how the global financial system is run. They don't want to be at the mercy of the US dollar anymore. This shift to a multipolar world is going to have a profound impact on everything from geopolitics to trade to, you guessed it, the global financial system. It's a complex and messy process, but it's one that's already underway. And the de-dollarization trend is just one symptom of this larger transformation. Section 7, the future of money. So, what does the future hold for the US dollar and the global financial system? This is a question that has intrigued economists, policymakers, and investors alike for decades. That's the million-dollar question, literally. The US dollar has been the cornerstone of the global financial system for many years. Some experts believe that the dollar's dominance is coming to an end. They point to various indicators and trends that suggest a shift is underway. They argue that the world is moving towards a multipolar currency system where no single currency holds absolute power. In this new system, multiple currencies including the yuan, the euro, and even digital currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum will play a major role. This could lead to a more balanced and diversified global financial landscape. Others believe that the dollar will remain the dominant global currency, even if its influence diminishes somewhat. They argue that the dollar's foundational strengths are hard to replace. They point to the dollar's deep liquidity, which makes it a preferred choice for international trade and investment. They also highlight the stability of the US economy, which provides a strong backing for the currency. Additionally, the lack of viable alternatives on the global stage is a significant factor. As reasons why the dollar will continue to reign supreme, they cite the absence of a single strong contender. The Federal Reserve's policies and the US's geopolitical influence also play crucial roles in maintaining the dollar's status. The truth is, nobody knows for sure what the future holds. Predictions can be made, but the global financial system is inherently unpredictable. The global financial system is constantly evolving. New technologies, political changes, and economic shifts all contribute to this dynamic environment. But one thing is clear, the de-dollarization trend is a sign that the world is changing. Countries are exploring alternatives to reduce their dependence on the US dollar. The US dollar's dominance is being challenged, and this could lead to significant changes in how global trade and finance operate. The global financial system is in flux, and we are likely to see more volatility and uncertainty in the coming years. It's going to be a bumpy ride, folks. Buckle up and stay informed, because the future of money is unfolding right before our eyes. Section 8. So, is this the end of the dollar? Look, the dollar isn't going to disappear overnight. It's still a major player in the global economy. But the cracks are starting to show. De-dollarization is gaining momentum. Countries are looking for alternatives. They want more control, more stability, and less dependence on the US. This isn't about picking winners and losers. It's about recognizing that the world is changing. The global financial system needs to adapt. We need to find ways to make it fairer, more stable, and more inclusive. The future of money might look very different from what we're used to, and that's okay. Change can be a good thing. It's time to start thinking outside the greenback. That's our show, everybody.